thousands of registered voters will head to the polls to decide who will lead our nation in the years to come. To make sure that process runs as smooth as possible, the elections office here on Smith Road is working around the clock.
It has been extremely busy, and what has made it so busy is the fact that we have to train two sets of officers, those for the elections and those for the referendum, because both processes are taking place in tandem. For the general election, we have 39 polling stations. That has now doubled to 78 because we have to replicate the same numbers for the referendum to be able to accommodate the same number of voters.
There are 3 elections personnel, 2 poll clerks and 1 presiding officer. And then there would be a number of candidates and agents. The candidates and agents are there to observe the process. They don't actually take a part in the proceedings. And of course there's a police officer in the room.
The RCIP will be out in numbers at all the polling stations. You'll see several uniformed officers. We'll start from very early in the morning, and basically we'll be looking to work very, very closely with the elections office in maintaining this law and order. This year, again, like other elections, it'll be clearly marked. For example, the exclusion zone, which is 300 feet, we'll just ask the public to stand clear of this area. Overall, with the general population of the registered voters, which I'm told is around 15,000, just over 15,000, we figure it'll be pretty smooth.
There's no more than 500 electors to be polled in any polling station in the 11 hours that the polls are open. All the presiding officers and poll clerks have been trained to handle the electors efficiently and expeditiously. An elector who is qualified to vote in the elections will first present himself to the elections polling station. There he will receive a ballot. In the case of Georgetown, it will show the 13 candidates for Georgetown, and he will be instructed on how to vote, but of course not who to vote for. The instructions would include that he may vote for up to 4 candidates and return it to the presiding officer folded, so that none of the candidates or agents present could see how he had marked the ballot paper. The presiding officer would then remove the counterfoil from the ballot paper, return the ballot paper to the elector, who would drop it in the ballot box. Immediately on exiting that polling station, he enters the referendum polling station. Now in the referendum polling station, he will be able to vote his choice on whether or not he approves the draft constitution that was approved by the Cayman Islands delegation and the UK government. And he simply marks an X or a cross to the right of the answer of his choice, and the answers are simply yes or no. One thing I should add is that if someone wants to vote in one of the processes but not the other, is not obliged to vote in both.
One significant change in this year's election is the introduction of mobile voting stations, which will allow those persons who are in a rest home, in a hospital, a geriatric at home, or those persons involved in the conduct of the elections, like police officers and all of our poll clerks, to be able to vote in advance of election day. Previously, those persons were required to vote by post. So therefore, postal voting is now restricted exclusively for those persons who are off the island or who will be off the island on election day. In Cayman Brac, in Little Cayman, they will also be involved in mobile voting. Again, we will have to replicate what is done at a polling station. And what it means is that we will go to those persons, or we will establish mobile voting stations. We will announce the date and the time and the place where mobile voting will take place.
To those persons that would say, my vote isn't going to make any difference, we said no, every single vote counts, and we're looking forward to a large turnout in this elections and referendum process.
To find out the latest happenings, just log on to www.electionsoffice.ky. You can read all about the history of the Cayman Islands elections, or you can download elections laws or statistics.